Hello. Welcome once again. It's been a minute. I know. Today's topic, does size matter? Does size matter? There's been a lot of talk, popular opinion about the size of a man's member and how it affects or impacts pleasure, satisfaction, or orgasm in a woman. And today we want to talk about size. Now we want to first of all talk about in a recent study, what does the statistics say? What does popular opinion say? We want to weigh statistics and popular opinion and then find a balance between and talk about the results. Now according to the statistics in our research that was done across sector of women, about 2,000, about 8,000, 1,800 and thereabout number of women, it was said that 40% or 40.2% of women would consider cheating on a man with a small banana. 40% would consider cheating. Welcome to this blooming room. I'm Coach Chinyere. Welcome to our continuation of our series. It's been a long time coming. We've had the first 4 episodes, and today we're on the 5th episode. And today's episode is about size. How does size affect sexual satisfaction, pleasure, orgasm, and all of that? Now, these are some of the things that you don't get to learn when you were in church circles, but it has a significant impact on our relationships. Just give me 1 minute. I want to show you something. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we don't talk about in church, and it's very, very, very important. Now, I will try to talk about size and the obsession about size. Size and the obsession about size. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to be looking at the data. We're going to be looking at the data, and then we're going to talk extensively about what is true, what is not, and what is the obsession about. Yeah? So this is what we're going to do. I am going to try to share my screen with you. Perhaps I'm going to see about doing that now. Just trying to see if I can set up my screen so that you can look at a few details with me, and we can look at the numbers, because I really would want you to go with me here and let you see, so we can separate fact from fiction. Yeah, we can separate fact from fiction. Okay, I don't know how to be able to do that right now, but let me just continue and just read these numbers to you. So, size. So what is, according to a summary of a research that was done, the summary of the findings indicated that 91.2% of women say that size matters for sexual satisfaction, with certain penis sizes being too small for them. Women also don't like very large sizes. 83.4% of women find some to be too big to be satisfying, actually. Now, the average desirable length for a penis size that women found to be, the good deal is 6 to 8 inches. Is the most favored penis size range. Yeah. Now, 43.6% of women say that the size matters when deciding to date someone. 56.6% of women say that a partner possessing a penis that was too large could contribute to them ending the relationship. Confusion, yeah? Different strokes for different folks. 40.2% of women would consider cheating on a partner with a small penis. 47.4% of women report that penis size matters during a one-night stand. Okay. 68.5% of women report that penis size matters in a friends with benefits situation. 64.5% of women believe that the length and width are equally important for their sexual satisfaction. Only 61.5% of women find sex with a well-endowed partner satisfying. 81.5% of women cited pain as the main cause of unsatisfying big, when the guy is really big down there. 57.3% of women who found big sizes to be satisfying report that they enjoy the feeling of being stretched. Now, 7.22 inches is the average ideal length that most women desire. And that is a lot of number, and that is very sad, and that is very confusing. But this is what it all boils down to. If you look at all these numbers, it all boils down to the more sexually experienced you are, the more your desire for a mixing and a matching. And we know that in more religious certain relationships where there is not that flexibility or liberality in sampling, in sexual sampling, one might not be able to know what fits and what doesn't, because you need to have had several trials before you know, okay, this is what I want, this is what my body enjoys. No, my body doesn't like that because it's had that and doesn't like it. Now, when we talk in terms of length, because people say, what do you mean by length? There is a graph that I have on the data that I'm looking at. Now, on this graph that I have, that I'm looking at right now, this graph shows how the level of satisfaction starts to drop off, starts to wane off as the length decreases. So you see that anything less than 5, between 5 and 6, satisfaction dwindles. Now people are saying, what is that 5 inches? What does that look like? Now this is an average size remote control. Yeah, it's an average size. This is a remote that I have for my AC. I know that different ACs have different remote controls, but on average this is a size of a remote control. Now this is my tape measure because I wanted to help you understand what it's about. Now this is an inch side. This remote control, the average length of this remote control is, look at it, about 5 inches. So we are talking about, as soon as a guy is this size and less, according to the data, this individual becomes less satisfying. We're talking about a fully erect male member now. As soon as he's this size, satisfaction dwindles. What is the most desirable length? Anything from 6 inches and above. Now, what is that? This is my banana. I'm going to eat it after this session. Now, an average moderately sized banana, which is what most people use to describe a male member. You say banana, the size of your banana. I have like the popular artist from my country, Nigeria, we say I've got a big banana and all of that. Sometimes a lot of them don't, but we'll forgive them, because this is an average size banana. And the length is, no, just one sec, because I need to go. It's an average size banana, and the length is about, you see that? 9 inches. So this is what a lot of women want. This cannot go wrong. And for those who are ridiculously longer, there's a lot of risk that is involved in it. So what women are saying is, we don't want this, we want this. can see the difference. This is the difference. This one is not very desirable. This one, a lot of women are saying, is what they want. Now, muscles stretch, and the fact that muscles stretch, one thing you need to understand that a woman's VJ, her walls are muscles. So they expand and they elongate. We use the word erection a lot for men, but it's not only men that get erect, women also get erect. Because when a woman gets erect, the length of the wall also stretches in length and also in width. But there's an extent to which she can stretch. Because imagine the size of the head of a baby pushing out through that vagina. That's to tell you the capacity of the walls of the vagina to really stretch and accommodate. But the problem is, as you keep stretching, it comes back to size. But after a while, with a woman that has had so many men of this size, when a man pulls out, after a while, the hormones goes down, the woman's muscles go back, but they don't exactly go back to being tight. So here is where the conundrum takes place, because the woman has enjoyed maybe ridiculously sized or this, and she has really been stretched because she has been with so many or several men with that size. All of a sudden, when she finds something that is like this, it's like someone is blowing air through a balloon. She's like, where are you? Are you gone in yet? That is a problem. So the challenge more is because of the number of experiences, because it has stretched significantly her muscles, her walls, so that it has to be now bigger and bigger and bigger. Secondly, the same thing happens also when a woman has had a child, because after the stretch to let that baby and all of that out, the woman can go back, but she doesn't exactly go back to when, she first got married. Let's say she hasn't been around a lot, or maybe her husband was the first person that she was with. It doesn't exactly go back to the original size. So what happens is, when you hear that, most men cheat with younger women, what do you think they are after? The tightness. Because a man wants to be able to feel all of the walls of a woman. So if a man is this size and a woman's VJ is this size and he's inside her, he can't really feel her. It's like you have sorry about that. It's like you have a finger in here, and it's just like, it's not feeling, he feels one wall, he can't feel the other wall because there's a lot of space, because she has been stretched over time, because she has been around and around. And a woman can stretch to the size of her partner's banana. A woman can stretch to the size of of her partner's banana. So after a while, because he fits her exactly, but the man wants that tightness. He wants that grip, that the walls of vagina is able to give when he's inside her. And so that becomes missing, because it's that tightness, that grip that he gets when he's inside a tighter and not so overtly exposed or used VJ that sends these sensations up his brain. That's why a lot of men go for younger women who have not been around a lot, because they find tighter. The walls are tighter. However, let us also note that there are women who perhaps have some medical conditions that would only be able to tolerate this size. We talked about reasons why sex hurts in one of, I think, episode 3. it was episode 3 when we talked about why sex hurts. And one of the things we talked about is that there are some medical conditions in a woman that predisposes her to pain during intercourse, and one of those things is vaginismus. It's a situation where the walls of the vagina has contractions, and so she cannot tolerate this size. It will cause her extreme pain. She can only manage this size. So for those kinds of women who have these kinds of issues, smaller is better in terms of comfort, in terms of what they are able to tolerate. So for them, they would benefit better from a man who is moderately sized and not excessively endowed as well. Let me go again and look at another statistics. Yeah, let's look again at another statistics and talk about what happens to men. Now, this is what the women want. What happens to the man who possesses this size? What goes on in his head? Now, it's a psychological turn on for men. That's the truth, because they have heard it over time, said it again and again and again. Oh, this, the bigger the better, the bigger the better, the bigger the better. And sometimes a lot of our black brothers who are said to have a lot of meat down there seem to be desired a lot by a certain race of women who like it bigger and better, because they are liberal and they are in societies where they start to explore their sexuality at a much younger age. So over time, the pleasure that they want it bigger and all of that. So it gets into the head of these brothers. It's a psychological turn on for them, because they've had, that the size. So they walk around in confidence. And one of the turn-ons is a man with confidence. So if you know you got a good size going for you, there's a confidence that you walk around with, because you got, girl, once you be with me, you're never going. I would like to say, once you go back, or once you go black, you never go back. It's just because of that mindset that most African men are more endowed down there than their other counterparts. That does not mean that you don't have the Caucasians who are also well endowed, or the Asians who are also well endowed. It's just a, like I said, popular opinion. But let's not mistake size for pleasurability. Just because you've got a big size doesn't mean that you can, just by virtue of size alone, be able to provide pleasure. The truth of the matter is, whatever size you're working with, what is most important is function, technique. The technique is very important, no matter the size you are working with, whether you are above 7 inches or whether you are 5 point whatever inches. Technique at the end of the day matters. And I dare say that the more moderately sized you are, the more flexibility you can, the more sexual positions that you can try, the more creative that you can be in the bedroom. When you are too big, the risk of causing pain and tears are very high. And a lot of women have talked about pain and actually tears. Oh yes, it can. You could, just like you have muscle strain and muscle tears, you can have that in the visual wall. And sometimes it's about this bigger. Okay, so the more moderately sized you are, the more pleasure. The higher the risk of infection, the bigger you are, the higher the risk of infection. Even when, for those who like to go oral, the more moderately sized the better, because the bigger, the more it feels like there was a choke. Studies have shown that there was a choke. It feels like whoever is losing air during that procedure or during that process. So when it's more moderately sized, it is more pleasurable. The mouth can fit on more, and without risk of feeling like you're about to choke, you're about to lose air, and all of that. You can walk more with your mouth, you can walk more with your tongue and all of that. Now, please, 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 when we talk about technique and all of that, we're not talking about going over the edge and going over to the PON side of things. This video is not about that. We're here to educate ourselves, to uplift ourselves, to help ourselves have healthier and more pleasurable, desirable relationships. That's not what I'm about here. This is not that. Okay? If you were smaller, then you have to educate yourself. Now, the next video we're going to be talking about positions. We're going to be talking about positions that are best suited for more pleasure, so that even if you're moderately sized, even if you're this size, so we can talk about more penetration and more satisfaction and all of that. And then you need to also be in a good health, because you need to have because sex matters. It's endurance matters. We don't want you to have just one ejaculation and your heartbeat is like 200 over whatever 150. Okay, so you need to work on your endurance, you need to up your game, you need to do more exercises, because it does take a lot of toll on the heart muscles. So you need to work on your health, so that you can have more stamina. Some people have one ejaculation and they are passed out for the rest of the week. No. So you need to work on your stamina. You do treadmill, you're running, you're jogging. You need to work on your endurance, okay? Because lovemaking is an experience, it's a process. It's not a bang, bam, one, thank you, ma'am kind of thing, or pum, 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 and you just zip up and you walk away. No, it's a process. So if, depending on what you have, you can create pleasurable moments. Pleasurable moments. Let it be memorable. So that at the end of the day, by the time she's there, she's so excited and so turned on. It doesn't matter the size that you were working with, but all she wants is just to have you on the inside of her, and you can play around with her and put her in these different positions. And even if you are a 5-inch guy, she will think that you're working with a 10-pole stick. Okay, so that is what we're talking about here. So weight matters. The bigger the amount of body fat that you put on, the more the penis looks shorter. It gets dragged in by the body fat. But if you begin to lose weight, as you become leaner, the penis looks longer. Okay, so weight matters, your health matters, your stamina matters, size might be for that. Like I said, for those who keeps talking about bigger, it's because most likely it's because of the increased number of experiences and that they have had, and so they need the urge for bigger will always be there, the more experience that you've had. But we are talking about people who have limited relationships, who are married at virgins and have never had it before and all of that. So don't let all of that size craze matter make you to lose faith that you can never have satisfaction, especially when you have a man who loves on you, who treats you right, respects you, but he doesn't quite have he's not a this guy or this guy, or he is more of this guy. So but whatever he has, you can work with it. Both of you can educate yourself. You can help each other to be able to use what you have to get what you want. Use what you have to get what you want. Okay, you can work with what you have. There's so many positions that you can try. There's so many techniques, and if you feel like you're overweight, we'll talk about all of that. Positions for people who are who have a moderately size, the best position for maximum penetration and desirability and pleasurability and satisfaction. We'll talk about that in the very next episode, which we will have next week. And I must apologize again for having been away for about a month. It's just been work. I have been exhausted, but I said, look, I have to come again and talk about these issues. So if you haven't, go back and watch the other episodes on pain during sex, circumcision, men, the role of men, women as well, the things that they have to do in terms of hygiene and all of that, and how that impacts sexual pleasure as well. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. It's educational. It can be shared in Christian circles because this is what about, because We don't want to see Christian marriages fall apart. These conversations need to be had. And if I'm able to save a marriage out there, whatever religion that you practice, I believe that all of us want sexual satisfaction. We don't want you practicing those things on the other women. Bring it home, bring it, and women, be open to these things. It is not dirty. It is something that you and your husband are supposed to explore and enjoy, and it was given by God. Enjoy it, splurge on it, try different positions, which we will talk about next week. And next week we'll talk about all of that, and we will learn, and we will increase, and we will improve, and all of that. So please let me know if there are any other topics that you want me to talk about other than this. But I have already created a list of topics that I want to talk about. So, but there's something that you think that I'm missing, please let me know. Please call on me. Let me know what you would want me to touch on, and I will. I promise that I will try to do that. Yes. So, have a good day, and I'll see you again on the next episode. Bye.